Okay, I want to show you all some of the most idolatrous things that goes on in the world, and it's happening down there in South America where the Pope instead of calling him the Pope, I call him the Pope. Pope Francis is being worshipped, and not only that, but their mother goddess Isis, or Lucifer, basically is being worshipped as well. And it is painfully idolatrous, but I want to show you some of this without getting copyright striked or banned, hopefully. Let me just show you the warning they always give at the end of the video, which makes me always a little bit cautious about showing these things. So here's the warning that they always give, and it says that for permission to use these images, please contact us, whatever. So hopefully I don't get any sort of strikes or anything. A claim is fine, you can always dispute a claim, but a strike, that's when they tell you to remove your video, and YouTube doesn't, they just immediately give you a strike, which limits your channel or whatever. But I am going to try to show you some of this stuff anyway.
Pope Francis headed to the Plaza de Armas of Trujillo, where he paid homage to the Virgin of the Door, also known as Little Mother of Otuzco. As soon as the Holy Father arrived, he stopped to greet this group of sick and disabled people. The Pope also recalled the other numerous Marian dedications in Peru.
Nuestra Señora de Alta Gracia de Humahuachuco, Virgencita que en los siglos pasados demostró su amor por los hijos de esta tierra, cuando colocada sobre una puerta, los defendió y los protegió de las amenazas que los afligían, suscitando así el amor de todos los peruanos hasta nuestros días.
Pope Francis explained the Virgin Mary is like the star that guides those who are lost back to Jesus. The Pope also asked them to show appreciation and recognition for the women with this strong call.
Okay, I have a comment to make about him calling the Virgin Mary the star that leads us back to Jesus. Now, there was a movie that just came out in last month in December called The Star, and it was about the star that not the angels, but the wise man followed to find the Messiah. Now, this is also a very Masonic thought and idea. The blazing star represents Venus and Sirius, and these are both, and Isis is also represented by Sirius. So Venus and Isis are represented by the star Venus and Sirius, and the blazing star, the Masonic blazing star, is the so-called the star in the east that the wise man or the Freemasons follow. And also, as I have pointed out in the past, the Queen of Heaven is represented as the stairway to heaven, as the Jacob's ladder that leads man to God and God to man. So in other words, man go to God through the goddess, and God comes down to man through her. So that's why we see her often on the Masonic tracing boards, on the ladder, or on the stairway, because she is that stairway to heaven. And also, what we have here in the background is very, very obvious, blatant Ashtoreth symbols here. You see her crescent moon, and where the sun disk would be, or the star, or Venus, what the blazing star would be, we have instead this letter M that always follows her around, this symbol that they always put out there. And this symbol, as I have also pointed out in the past, looks a lot like the sigil of Lucifer. It has the same, now it may be a little bit harder to see here, but you have this shape that is found, this V, the V going down is inside the M, but it also makes sort of a V shape there, and then you have like another V shape that goes upward, or an inverted one. And you can also look at that as kind of like the square and compass. These overlapping shapes here, it's the same thing that's shown on the sigil of Lucifer, and it's right there, right out there in the open where everybody can see it.
Following Pope Francis's address, the Marian celebration and singing of litanies took place.
Madre Castissima,
Although with a bit of difficulty, the Pope placed this crown and rosary on the Virgin Mary. Then came the offering of flowers. These children, dressed in traditional regional attire, presented them. This celebration concluded the Holy Father's visit to the Peruvian city of Trujillo.
Now see, they always say, these Catholics always say, we don't worship Mary. We don't worship Mary. Why do you always insist that we worship Mary? But then when you look at what they do, how is this not worship? I had a person yesterday comment on one of my videos telling me that I should find that comment and post it for you, that they don't worship Mary, but it's obvious that they do. Where is you know, why is it, it's just so obvious to me that it's just like, it makes my head hurt that nobody is really recognizing how bad this is. But anyway, and look at how many people are following this. Where is it? Looking for a shot of the whole crowd. Well, okay, well, let's talk about the children putting flowers. They're always putting flowers and things, forming a little grove around the goddess. But back to the crowd again. I'm trying to find a picture of this crowd. Just imagine what it would be like. And this is like just a little microcosm of what goes on around the world. If this so-called Queen of Heaven was to appear in the sky and tell everybody to worship her son or the beast, you know, just think of how many people would just immediately just follow right after it. So there's one more thing, really briefly, that I want to show you and let you hear too.
In Trujillo, Pope Francis couldn't skip a special act, being that he's so devoted to Mary. In the cathedral, the Holy Father placed this bouquet of flowers at the foot of the image of the Immaculate Conception of Otuzco. Only some 300 people were inside the cathedral, but thousands more awaited Pope Francis outside. The streets of Trujillo overflowed with people wanting to show their affection for the Pope. Minutes later, he arrived at the seminary where he held an encounter with Peruvian clergy.
This is just the amount of people that worship. I know some people believe the Pope is the Antichrist. I believe he is a Antichrist. Some people say it's Obama. I believe Obama is also a Antichrist. There are many Antichrists, but just the sheer amount of people who love this guy is just astonishing to see. And even more people love that Queen of Heaven. But just this part that they said at the beginning was just astounding to me. Well, not astounding to me, but it was just worth hearing again.
Pope Francis couldn't skip a special act, being that he's so devoted to Mary. Pope Francis couldn't skip a special act, being that he's so devoted to Mary. Pope Francis couldn't skip a special act, being that he's so devoted to Mary.
Just had to play that again. Well, that's it. That's all I wanted to show you all. I know I sound like a broken record, but I guess that's what I'm here to do. Sound like a broken record.